Okay, we are back in open session now, and we will commence with hearing of citizens' comments. If anyone has a comment they would like to make, this is the time to go to the podium, and you have 5 minutes, and we ask that you sign your name and your ward number.
Back up again. I'm Bob Bosma. I live outside of the city of Boonville. I come to you tonight with a different hat on. It's the hat of a Vietnam vet. We're bringing the moving wall, the Vietnam Veterans Limited Organization's moving wall, here to Boonville for Heritage Days, June 27th through 29th. The cost for that project is $5,000. We've already started some fundraising efforts and have plenty of opportunities to do that through a motorcycle club, through the veterans organizations in Jefferson City, in California, in Tipton, in Sedalia, in Marshall, and in Fayette, and in Kansas City. And we also have an Eagle Scout, Luke Johnson, that has taken this on as an Eagle project. And so he is working for fundraising and also to construct the foundation for the wall that will be set up on 3rd Street in front of Science Hall on the Kemper campus, Kemper Park. In fact, tonight Luke Johnson is organizing the scouts that will be used as guides during the course of the wall to help people find names and explain how things work on there. We've already gotten permission from MoDOT, the same thing that we did in 2005. They will put their electronic signs going into and out of Boonville, or coming into Boonville from both ways on I-70 to name the Vietnam Wall being set up here in Boonville to bring traffic off the interstate. When the wall was in Concordia this past fall, the very same one, and MoDOT did that, the VFW in Concordia tells me that 2/3 of the visitors to the wall were actually off the interstate and not from the area at all, that those signs brought in a great number of people. The 2005 response, we had a great number of visitors coming in off the interstate. What was interesting about that is that they come 24 hours. They'll be coming during the night, and it continues to stay open, and many that actually stop at night and spend a few hours at the wall, and so that's been an interesting experience. We're inviting a different town's veterans organization to be coming to the wall each night. That way it brings others from other towns along with them into the wall each night. So instead of using any Boonville veterans organizations for ceremonies at the wall, we're using them from different towns just to intentionally draw them in. And the scouts, as I said, will serve as escorts. Now I come because of that $5,000 cost. I'm seeking a $2,500 split from the city. I understand that the tourism does not have the money, and Heritage Days specifically wanted the Vietnam Memorial Wall to be totally separate from anything spent for Heritage Days. This is an add-on or something different. And I knew that the only source for that could be possibly any discretionary funds from the city. So what I'm asking the city to do is to consider giving $2,500 to get us halfway there of bringing this Vietnam Wall to Boonville for 5 days in June to bring lots of people off the interstate and into town to spend some money here. That's all I have.
Could I ask you one question? Where's the other $2,500 going to come from?
For veterans organizations, several veterans organizations.
And you already have that raised?
No, we're already doing that. Yeah, in my experience from both last times that the wall was here, most of the contributions come in the last month. I don't know why those groups are so, well, until it's urgent, they don't move fast to pay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bob. We'll probably discuss this under miscellaneous. Any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll move along to approval of the minutes of the April 21st, 2014 council meeting. Those were in your packet, and you've had plenty of time to review those. Are there any corrections or additions? Ned?
I have two. In the hearing of citizens' comments, Mr. Buckley stated in the middle of that paragraph that there was a 56% improvement in missed calls in 2013, 48 compared to 21. That's probably backwards. It should be 21 compared to 48.
Okay.
And then under Boonville Housing Authority, Mr. Tessendorf advised that the annual audit, the word "the" is misspelled.
Okay. Any other additions or corrections? Seeing and hearing none, it will stand as corrected. Consent items, we just have one this evening. Consider pay request number 2 from Freck Paving for the MoDOT STP project in the amount of $22,188.08. Morris.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Becky, thank you. Question or comments? Roll call.
Heaton,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers.
Yes.
Presentation of accounts and claims. Mary, when you're ready, if you would please read that.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on May 5th, 2014, the sum of $454,051.14. General Fund, $248,974.06. Sanitation, $15,439.10. CIP tax, $5,640.02. Waterworks, $39,007.25. Capital projects, $39,779.01. Wastewater, $63,521.35. Tourism, $3,542.64. Gaming, $38,147.71. Parks and Water, 0. The bookkeeper is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $454,051.14, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3, the sergeant shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on May 5th, 2014, read for the second time this 5th day of May 2014, since the copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Mayor, second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Becky. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Heaton,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers.
Yes.
Unfinished business, quarterly report presentation by the Katy Bridge Coalition. I don't see anyone here from that organization. Kate, I believe you were in communication with them, so you can give an update on.
The Katy Bridge Coalition called me on Thursday afternoon and asked if they could be moved, this meeting and for future quarterly reports, to the second meeting of the council, which this one would be, I think is May 19th, because their board meeting is this week or next week, and so they wanted to give you the most current information, so they'll be back at the next meeting.
So we'll be hearing from them at the next council meeting. New business, consider motion to approve filing of annexation court petition.
An ordinance of the city of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing the city. This is where we are.
Nope. That's the next one.
Okay.
So Megan, do you, or Lou? Take it.
Noah's got the motion.
Okay,
You
I
want me
didn't
to
know
make
if
the
we
motion?
needed any lead in or not. Okay, Noah?
Let's make a motion. I move to authorize the law firm of Leonardo and Baker to file the declaration judgment action in Cooper County Circuit Court to declare the Southeast Corridor annexation is reasonable and necessary.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Laura. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Heaton,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Item B, first reading of Bill Number 2014-013, approving the partial parallel taxiway state block grant agreement between the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission and the City of Boonville.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to execute Amendment Number 1 to the contract between the City of Boonville, Missouri and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, providing for additional funding of the partial parallel taxiway project, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Reports of standing committees, Board of Public Works, Ned?
I missed the meeting, the minutes are attached, it looked to be a nice, simple meeting.
Okay, any questions? Okay. Street, alley, and sanitation, Kari?
Yeah, it was my first meeting. I don't think there was anything out of the ordinary. The minutes are in your packet. If you have any questions.
Okay, anyone have any questions? Okay. Reports of city officials, city administrator, Earl?
Yes, I have a scheduling matter I want to address to the council. So if you have any calendars, why don't you pull them out? But I'm intending to have a little planning session. It's not going to be a major deal, but I feel the need to do it with the number of projects we've kind of got on our plate and kind of get the year going off on a good foot with everybody on the same page. So I guess here's what I have. I like to have it sometime probably sooner rather than later so that we don't just kind of spin our wheels for a while. But we're looking at, this is May 5th. The 19th doesn't work for certain staff reasons. That's the next council meeting. Of course, the next Monday is Memorial Day. June 2nd, it's my understanding some council members are not going to be present that night, so I prefer we have a full house. So I'm searching for sort of another day along the way. We can do this. It's not going to be a big, long session. There's not a huge decision to be made, but there'll be a few things that you would probably want to see at least we have consensus on. So again, I said it's pretty narrow, but the first one I was looking at possibility here is can't do it next Monday because we have some other events going on. It'll take most of the day. The 13th, 14th, and 15th, those days probably are possible. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week.
I can't
Can't
do
do
any
any
of
of
them. I'm sorry.
I'm tied up all three.
Huh?
I'm tied
He's
up all
tied up
three
also.
nights.
All right, then let's go to the Memorial Day week, sometime in the middle of that week.
28th is about the only day that'll work for me.
It's a Thursday,
Wednesday.
That's a
Wednesday.
as long as it's not Friday. December.
You're-
Yeah, we just won't go to Centralia.
Oh, that's
Okay,
Central
Central.
Missouri.
yeah.
Earl's more important.
Thursday that week, the 29th.
But if it's the 20th,
I got chemo that day, but I could
28th,
probably
Wednesday.
come in and
28th
sit.
seems to be okay.
Oh, the 28th, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
28th 's
I thought
fine.
you were saying it wasn't.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Staff okay with that in the audience?
28th.
28th?
So Wednesday.
28th, Wednesday.
All right, I
Again,
think
the
that's,
7th.
What time are you talking?
well, when do you need it to be?
After 6:30,
After 6:30?
if it's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we make it 6:30?
6:35 or
6:31?
Probably 7, closer to 7.
closer to 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, there's going to be a lot of items on the thing. Mary's not confident that we can go through it, but I have more confidence than she does. Because we're not, like I said, we're not going to try to solve every issue in the world. We're just going to kind of get everybody on the same page and tell them how we're going to start working through the things. But in order to start some of those things, I'd like to be sure everybody's on board. So the 28th, 7 o'clock.
Good.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. The mayor, I do have a couple of things in your packet. You did find list of mayoral appointments that I would like for you to confirm this evening, and I do have some names to add that were firmed up over the weekend. If you want to grab a pencil, if you go down to the Industrial Development Authority, they need a third person, and I would like to nominate Tabitha Grice. Parks and Recreation Board needs a third person, and I would like to nominate Albert Turner. Street and Alley Board, John Kreidenheider has confirmed that he's willing to go back on. And Historic Preservation, which is not on there, but Jim Wilson has agreed to serve on that committee. So you're going to be seeing a few more. This is the majority of the appointments, though, so we do need to get started on that so our new boards can begin functioning. So I would appreciate a motion to accept those appointments. Morris?
Mayor, I make a motion these be approved.
Okay, do I hear a second? Ned?
Thank you. Second?
Thank you very much. Discussion, questions? Roll call.
Eaton,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ehlers.
Yes.
Okay. The only other thing that I have, and I'm sure you all are hearing kind of the same thing, we had the initial report on the Kemper Administration Building, and a lot of people are curious what the Alumni Association is doing or how they're getting along. So I think they've had enough time that we probably should invite them back and kind of hear how they're getting along and what they're hearing from their folks. So sometime in the near future, we'll invite them to come back and make a report on that.
Excuse me, since you brought it up, have we made application with whatever the history organization is? Remember when we talked about that, that would be the longest, it would take us the longest to get permission of the
history
historical register people?
Form 106.
A section 106
Oh.
evaluation.
No, that would be part of the grant application.
Yeah.
correct?
So that could go at the same time as the brownfield,
Is the what?
as the grant?
Brownfield?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, does the grant have to
Part of
come?
that submit, you send one thing to the regulatory and one thing to the grant people, right?
Have
Yeah,
we-
but we gotta subdivide it first.
Okay, so are we moving on the subdivision?
That's
We've
one of the
taken
things,
steps.
that's one thing on the planning list.
Oh,
because I
okay.
don't know if we ever did that, but I think where we have started it informally as a staff, and it may go to planning and zoning next,
May 13th.
next week.
Okay,
To
that's
start
right,
it.
you told me about that. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. City Councilor, Megan?
You have to give me a moment to get set up.
Oh, my gosh.
Sit tight, put your seatbelts on. We're gonna start the session tonight. We got 4 new people on the council who've never heard this. Some of this is gonna be old hat horses. We're helping most of it.
Oh, man.
You're gonna have to bear with me. We're gonna lay some groundwork.
Where's the coffee?
Yeah, we can make coffee. I'll have to make that.
Yeah.
I can see that's good. This is dinner.
Take 2.
All right, chocolate, that'll do it.
Yeah, there's my pizza. Pizza in
Now
gold
pass it
foil.
back, Ned. Don't keep up.
Can't keep
Make it. It's falling.
Is that Megan's chocolate?
Oh,
Megan's chocolate?
good catch, ML.
Sit down that way.
I think it's actually a dog bowl she bought on sale at Walmart. Pass it down.
I don't think I've ever seen this. Is it every year?
This is something special.
Do we need to pass the trash can? I don't want to squeak it. Here's your half. I don't want to make it squeak. Okay.
I don't know, I don't think Mark and they only took care of you. They took care of us.
We ready?
Don't do that, man.
All right, this evening, I was asked to do a little research and to look into an issue that probably has some import to this council and will also help lay some of the groundwork, I believe, with some of the issues Earl's got contemplated for the planning session. This is in the nature of a legal review. And the questions that Councilman Beach originally proposed to me are good questions, but I really couldn't start with his questions because I'd leave half the audience behind. So I'm going to have to lay a little bit of groundwork. The question that we're ultimately trying to answer is, what activities are eligible for the parks and stormwater sales tax? What activities can we fund out of that tax? That's what ultimately we're going to try to come up with and inform our decisions in the future. This is not an absolute. There's no right, there's no wrong. This is what they call in the law, this is the art of legal evaluation, and we're going to see that tonight. To get there, we have to answer two questions first. What assets were acquired at the Kemper campus auction back in April 4th, 2003? Why they were acquired and how they were acquired. And then the second question is, what assets were included in the Frederick T. Kemper Park? And we'll answer both of those. The one question that I'm going to defer, one of the issues that Councilman Beach asked to evaluate in this, we've kind of dealt with the conflict of interest issue, and then there's also a question about accessibility and ADA on the science hall and the Kemper campus and parks in general. I'd like to put that one aside for this evening because, frankly, Gary Nauman and a number of us within the staff have put together an entire ADA plan that we administer long-term, and I think it would be best if we bring that at a different time because it's not critical to really asking and answering these questions. So what assets were acquired at the Kemper campus auction? And I'm going to start over here with the map. This was actually the composite map of the Kemper Military School grounds that was completed by Marshall Engineering prior to the auction. The auction was a public auction held, and they advertised 7 tracts to be sold at the auction. There's only 6 tracts on this. All right. Tract 1 was 15.7 acres. Tract 2 was the Johnson Field House. Tract 3 was the Hitch House or the President's House, and so forth. The 6th tract was this back field here. Tract 7 at the auction was the entire Kemper campus, all 46 acres and 13 buildings. And that's actually what the council authorized purchase of back in the prior, the months leading up to that evaluation. There were 4 closed sessions from February through April, and the council in those sessions evaluated a number of options and decided to actually, they wanted to primarily get the open space. But what they stated in those minutes was that they wanted the open space, but would purchase the entire campus with the intent that the tracts not desired to be retained by the city be sold off as soon as possible. That was the intent of the council back in April of 2003. They ended up buying all of the acreage and the 13 buildings that were on that tract. Let's go through specifically what they got. All the tracts came into the park. How'd they come in? Let's look at them. They got the Hitch House, President's House, which is sitting on about 0.6 acres. They got a lot on Walnut Street, right down here, really just adjacent to, but really not included on the campus. Just a residential lot was part of the bargain. They got Johnston Fieldhouse, which was formerly a field house and pool, as we all know. Currently is under lease to the YMCA, and it was actually under lease at the time that the city bought the campus, and that continued on. As we all know, YMCA is a private, not-for-profit organization. Please make a note of that, because we'll talk about that in a minute. Johnson Fieldhouse, we bought. Science Hall, we got. Why is that in the green? This is a green sheet. These are green sheets. These are sheets of properties that really not formally used as a public park. Science Hall, why do I say that? Because it is currently, it's classrooms, formerly classrooms and laboratories. That is currently under a commitment with the EDA to renovate it for campus for industry or for information technology. We've got the admin building, which is sitting on 0.5 acres. Pretty big tract of land. It's white because it's under potential demolition contract in the future. We have the power plant in white. It was already demolished. Okay. It's currently serving as parking for the public and for the State Fair Community College. We have the Kemper Lake, which is currently on the potential renovation list. And we have 36 acres that were formerly the open space, sporting fields, and now include the area, everything that does not have a building on it. It's approximately 36 acres, all of this area. We've got 36 acres of open land, and we've got 10 acres with buildings on it. This no longer part, this under lease, and two buildings, one building demolished and one building potentially demolished. You can't hear me?
Yeah, it's unfortunately sometimes when you walk away.
Sorry.
Okay, once you get that put on, you can flip that switch for the audio.
All right. How am I doing, Jeremy? Perfect? All right. Oh, I can even hear myself. I'll try to stand back a little bit. We also have Math Hall, which was formerly classrooms under the old Kemper campus and is now, as you know, was renovated in 2000, and it became the Library Learning Center, and that is the building that we currently lease to State Fair Community College under a 5-year lease for general courses, student education. We have the Armory Building, which was formerly the Armory Building, and it's been renovated in 2005 to include public restrooms and a concession stand that we actually can lease out. I don't believe it's currently under lease. We have the Maintenance Building, which was renovated in 2012, and we use that for parks and recreational storage. We have the Harvey A Barracks, formerly classrooms and dormitory, and it's currently used preservation maintenance only at this point in time. We have Academic Hall, classrooms, currently preservation maintenance only. D Barracks, formerly classrooms, this is the really big building, classrooms, dormitory, student hall, currently preservation maintenance only. Mule Barn, formerly Mule Barn, preservation maintenance only. Windsor K Barracks, dormitory building, currently preservation maintenance only. That's what we got when we purchased the Kemper campus. These two properties are no longer there. All the rest of these properties are part and still being maintained as part of the park. Why do I say that? When the city council purchased and
the Kemper campus, they were acting under authority of this statute, where the city council may purchase and hold grounds for public parks within the city or within 3 miles of the city. They had the intent, the use, and over time really develop a plan. So key in this is purchase, hold grounds for public parks. So the next question begs the question is, what's park? We have several definitions to look at. City ordinances, we define a park as a park, a reservation, a playground, a beach, recreation center, or any other public area in the city owned or used by the city and devoted to active or passive recreation. State statutes define what a park is. It's any land, site, or object primarily of recreational value, of cultural value, or because of its scenic, historic, prehistoric, archaeological, scientific, or other distinctive characteristics or natural features. We have a dictionary definition. I use the American Heritage Dictionary definition of an area of land set aside for public use, a piece of land with few or no buildings within or adjoining a town, maintained for recreational or ornamental purposes. Okay. Common theme through all of this, and from what I can define as the characteristic of a park, is the term recreation. That seems to be the common theme for what's going through what a park is. And I'll read it because I know a couple of you can't see it. Recreation is defined as activity done for enjoyment when one is not working, refreshment of one's mind or body through activity that amuses or stimulates. Play. Recreation is an area for play. Characteristics of a park. I asked several people in the community, what's a park to you? And these are the types of responses that I got. It's open to the public, there's playgrounds, it could be outdoor recreation, it could just be plain old green space where people can sit under a tree. It could be historic site preservation, trails, memorials, sculptures, picnic areas, shelter houses, unusual or special site that's been notated, a natural area. So that's what the city had the power to purchase and hold grounds for public parks. The next key to this is, what did the people vote for using the tax for? So we've got a campus of 46 acres, minus a couple, minus about 1 acre, and we're down to about 10 buildings now. Some of it we've actually put into use. Some of it we have done very little to, the open land. Some of the buildings we are holding grounds to probably meet some of these requirements that we see here for historic purposes. In the terms of the admin building, we're not going to be holding it very much longer, okay, because we're going to turn that into, potentially, unless something changes over the course of the next few months, we're going to turn that back into vacant open land and incorporate that in that open land segue. When the folks went to vote on the Stormwater Control and Parks sales tax, this is what they voted for. Shall the City of Boonville impose a sales tax of 0.5% for the purposes of providing funding for stormwater controls and local parks for the next 25 years for the City of Boonville? There were a number of publications, there were some campaign material, there was a PowerPoint, there was a lot of information that even some of you I know personally met with groups of people and talked about what that was all about. In the end, probably didn't matter all that much because it really comes down to, as you can see, what are we using it for? The strongest argument that we have on what's a park is what was it intended to be. It was going to stay part of the entire track until we wanted to sell it off, to not use it, to not control it. Well, we've been pretty stingy about selling things off. We've pretty much kept everything. We've either preserved it, we've converted it, or it's sitting there holding and waiting for some future opportunity, of which some of those have been identified as part of the redevelopment plan for the Kemper campus. Some of those are arts, recreation, lifelong learning, those kind of things. Some of them are not. So at some point in time, that decision will have to be made. So in the end, how do we evaluate what those activities can be used for? I think this is how you evaluate it. Based upon those definitions, my conclusion and recommendations are that the 4,600 and the 46 acres and the 13 buildings came into the Kemper Park, came into the Frederick T. Kemper Park. Doesn't matter when it was named, doesn't matter how it was named, doesn't matter what you call it, didn't matter what the Parks Department thought they did, doesn't matter what the board thought they really supervised, it came in. And it was been used in some format for recreation based upon these definitions, except for the house and the lot that we sold off. Public parks use drives the eligibility for what can be done with the parks tax. Doesn't matter, like I said, what it was named for. So let's look about some of the things specifically. One of the questions is the Science Hall renovation to take that building for student education and information technology services eligible for the parks tax? I think the answer is pretty clear. That's no. Not eligible. Is the admin building demolition, would that be subject? Can we use some of that money? Yes. We're taking that back to incorporate the green space. Parks maintenance, would that be eligible for the parks tax? Yes. And I believe that also includes some of the basic maintenance that could occur on those buildings in the future, as long as you're holding those grounds for some public park use in the future. The minute you decide you're not going to be doing that, it's probably going to come off the table. Just like Science Hall potentially comes off the table. So roof repair, tuck pointing of the building, basic external envelope, time of water intrusion, you're going to continue to preserve those properties, those buildings. Those buildings are sitting there. They are being used for cultural purposes, historic preservation purposes. That's part of what we define as parks. Park improvements. Yes, that's going to be something that you can use for your parks with your park sales tax. Buying a piece of land to put a park on. Ball fields. Absolutely. Got to be a little careful, though. A little careful. What's part of this?
Public. Right.
We're not buying land to have somebody proprietarily take the land and use it exclusively for, right? It's got to be part of the public park system. So we've got to keep that in mind. And of course, recommendations for public stormwater facilities are eligible for the parks tax. That's part of it, including those improvements on parkland and public buildings. So I blow your mind? Did I educate you?
I'm educated.
That's where we're at. All of these things that we've done so far, all of these processes that we're holding, using, are all part of the mix. At some point in time, though, the intent may change, the use may change, the plan may change. At that point in time, you'll need to reevaluate whether it meets this scenario. Questions?
Well done.
Did a good job.
Wow.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is kind of out there, I'm just asking out of curiosity. There are other terms, definitions for park, as in Research Triangle Park, Industrial Park. Does that definition fall into any piece of this consideration?
No. We're a third-class community, all right? Third-class statutory community. We're a local government agency. We're part of that group. We're not going to be developing an industrial park for recreational purposes. It's just not what we do, okay? That doesn't mean that we can't collaborate, and I think that's when you read some of the materials that Jim Gann put together. Obviously, in today's world, people like having education and public libraries and, you know, all those kind of things can be intermingled, okay? But it's just the question we're answering here is, how do you fund it? Okay, so those things might be considered parks in a different sense, but they're not going to be funded under what I believe the citizens of Boonville voted on. I think they recognize the import of those buildings for potential either open space or other cultural activities or whatever, and you never underestimate the power of the voters. I think they recognize that they wanted to use some of the Kemper Park facilities for ball fields. Those people all came together and voted this in. And I think they probably recognized the import of those buildings as well as the vacant parkland. Morris?
Megan, if we go and start talking about subdividing this, are we going to be real careful how we word that and do that? To make sure we don't get away from the definition as parks?
Yes, we will. When we look at a potential subdivision plan, keeping in mind that we have two potential buildings there, Science Hall and the Library Learning Center together as kind of the educational core, that could be subdivided as a chunk. So, you know, that there was no parks money put into the State Fair community, the Library Learning Center. So there's been nothing dedicated to that. So that could be defined. But yeah, you're right. You do have to make sure, and it's clear that everybody knows what we're doing and why we're doing it, and it's something that's not flip-flopped too much.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Megan.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes,
And
no.
if you like doing these things, Megan, I'd encourage it in the future. We are informational. I mean,
Yes.
it gets us all on the same level playing field, so we know.
It is. It's a lot of work. And I'm more than glad to do it. And it does. Sometimes you forget when you look around the table that not everybody was here back in 2003 or 2005 when some of these decisions are made. So it is important to do that.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good. We will move along to, did you have anything else, Megan?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We'll move along to economic development. Jim Gann reports that he has no report other than the earlier workshop which was held this evening. City Clerk, Mary, do you have
I have
anything?
nothing to report either.
Okay. Miscellaneous.
One thing, Gary, the lake out behind Country Mark, I guess, are you guys prepared for people to fish, cleaned up around? Can they get to it, or where do we stand?
It's on our list of things to do. People can go out there and fish. It's stocked and ready to go as far as that is concerned. UOI has been cleaning up out there a little bit. I have not been out there recently enough to check on their progress, but they did call me and tell me that they had our access for our moors blocked, and they've got that opened up and cleaned up.
Have we got it mowed around there, or too early? I mean,
Well, I can't honestly answer that because I think at first we couldn't get our moors. I think our inmate crew has actually gone down there and mowed around the lakes and got it cleaned up. But as far as being able to get the machines down there, we have not been able to do that yet.
I've
So-
just had some people,
Yeah,
question is, so
yeah.
just
but
to let you know,
They can go down there and fish anytime.
you guarantee catch fish.
No, I don't guarantee.
They can go down.
They can go down there. I don't guarantee they're gonna catch a fish. I've not been successful any time I've gone. So.
Thank you.
Gary, hold on. I got one thing. The tree, the dotting the trees, the orange and the white.
Yes, sir.
We had a tree that was dotted orange and they removed it. The 2 trees dotted white, is any activity going to be taken on those?
Unfortunately, not on those 2 because the contractor placed notifications on the windshields of those vehicles on numerous occasions, and the vehicles were never moved.
Okay.
And therefore, on my counsel, he did not cut any limbs out of those trees.
Probably smart.
Because I figured his insurance agent would not like that.
Okay. All right.
But the white is a trim, right?
The white is a trim, yes.
In that case, it's at my house, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have gone out and moved them, but
I don't know
guess
if
they're
they-
not my cars.
Yeah.
I know whose they are, but
Okay, yeah. But
Evidently they didn't
he
heed the
placed,
warning.
yeah, he placed notices on their windshield
That's
several
fine.
different times. And now, I will tell you that we've had phantom dots before, but those 2 were legal.
thanks.
Unauthorized dotting.
Bob Bosma addressed the council this evening. Does anyone feel strongly one way or another on that? Is there any, yes.
Mayor, I think, well, I don't know where, number one, I don't know where Bob got his information as far as tourism goes. I believe they're the only one that has some money. That I would like to see it referred back to the tourism board and get their recommendation.
Okay.
Look at me. No, I'm not on the tourism board
Steve?
anymore.
Do we have money for that kind of thing? Do you have a slush fund?
Slush fund.
I don't know if they-
Earl doesn't
Petty
talk about
cash,
that.
Earl. There's no petty cash.
Don't even go there.
You don't
No.
know Earl very well, does he? There's no
I got
money
away
in
with
it.
the mayor's slush fund. I can tell you. I know, and he took that away from me. It is? Well, I didn't even know that. Sherry Broyles with the Tourism Commission is here and would like to speak.
Actually, when we were approached for money, it was as part of the whole Heritage Days committee. We did not know how much money they needed or anything like this. It was just part of a whole package deal. So we gave the chamber, a billboard, and we're going to do some marketing. And the other day, I did talk to her, Kim, about giving them the billboard. I thought that would be a good way to get people off of the highway and get it up a month prior to. So if Bob wants to come back and make a presentation, we need to know what he needs, the market. That has never been presented to us. So I think that there was some confusion there.
Okay.
And so maybe he thought that's what they were going to present, and the chamber did not ask that. So he
Okay.
needs to come back to our next meeting, and I'll get him the application, and we'll go from there.
Very good,
Okay?
very good. I like to resolve problems this quickly, so. Any other questions or comments? Ned?
Under miscellaneous, just a quick suggestion for Tim on the fire board. I don't know the last time we got a fire board report here at council. Can anybody remember one?
Oh, I can.
It was the other day when Megan came and talked about the
Yeah.
annexation.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't meet what I would call monthly,
No.
but there's a report when they do meet. Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering whether or not that secondary fireman on the third shift had ever been discussed by the fire board, and I'd kind of like to see what their reaction is to that.
Okay.
So, thank you. We're going to have a report at the next meeting.
Next meeting?
Geez,
The
I
next
got
time
really
they have a
fast.
meeting, you mean?
After they have.
The next time they have a meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, so I mean, that's something I'd be in favor of as well, is referring that issue to the parks or the fire board. Let them vet that and bring that back to us.
Okay.
So, I don't know when your next meeting is, but, or if you'd even call one for that purpose, or,
The third Wednesday, so I could have, what is the third Wednesday?
Third Wednesday, you had a calendar.
21st?
Yeah, I'll be out of town that whole week, so I'll have one in June. And unless you want me to call one earlier, I can call a special.
I don't think that's
No,
probably
not
necessary, so.
June be good?
Okay.
I
Becky?
just have a question, and I know Bob is not here, but how did it come about that, do we know how it came about that 3rd Street and that location would be where the wall would be set up at Kemper grounds?
They were saying.
Because
what I think came before the tourism at one point was talking about
it's
Harley
going
Park
on the
and
north,
field.
well, we don't have enough space without interference from baseball and stuff for Harley Park. But the proposal was made to me if they could set it up on the North Parade ground at Kemper, which would be out in front of Science Hall, so it would be, yes, along 3rd Street.
My concern is parking in that area. I mean, I know when it was here before, it got a lot of visitors, a lot of people were parking all over that loop, that mile loop to walk back. And,
Well, and where it's going to be in conjunction, but with everything going on at Harley Park and Rolling Hills Park, what the question was posed to me is, can we put it at Kemper? Where can we put it at Kemper to tie it in with Heritage Days? And they wanted to try to keep as many of the activities together as they could. So that's why we selected the North Parade Field.
you got the carnival down there. I
Yeah,
just think it's going to be a parking nightmare.
it's going to be busy.
And it's running 24 hours?
It'll run
It's going to be running
24.
all night long?
It'll
That's
run
in a
24/7.
residential district?
At dusk, they cut down to low wattage lights that just basically outline the front of the wall. They're not going to be glaring in somebody's bedroom window. And I think we're far enough back off of the street. I can talk to, I think David Joint would be the one that might be disrupted, if you will, more than anybody. But the people across the street probably won't even know it's there, other than the parking issue.
Morris?
Gary, you have any idea when, we didn't approve the street closures yet?
No, you haven't. I have no idea. We have a meeting Monday night.
I think they are out working.
Actually, I finished
Okay.
them. They dropped them off in my house, and I got the rest of them, so.
Okay.
We've got them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
So
need to
they
get 'em over to Craig,
They should
but-
be back in the next meeting.
Right. And
Yep.
from a time standpoint, I think they need to come to the next
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.